everyone, diving in today with something super important. The link between gender equality and water security. And trust me, it's way more intertwined than you might think. We're going deep on a new report from the Asian Development Bank, Gender Equality and Water Security, a conceptual framework and practical strategies to accelerate progress.
And we're talking beyond just, water is life. This report gets into the nitty-gritty of who gets access to water and how gender roles play a huge GE part.
Okay, so right off the bat, the report hits us with this water burden paradox: 200 million hours every single day. That's how long women and girls globally spend just collecting water. It's like the entire population of Russia working an 8-hour water shift daily.
And it's not just the physical burden either. Imagine the lost opportunities.
Right.
Education jobs, even just leisure time. This perpetuates a cycle of inequality where women are stuck in these roles because of societal expectations, not because they're less capable.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. And what's crazy is the report highlights how often these inequalities are baked right into our systems. It's not just about a lack of resources, it's about who controls them.
Exactly. Think about it. In many cultures, women are the traditional water managers at the household level. Yet they are often excluded from decision-making at the community or national level. They're carrying the weight of the problem, but don't have the power to influence the solutions.
Right, that's a recipe for disaster or at least really ineffective water management.
Precisely, and that's where the report's gendered water security framework comes in. It's like putting on a new pair of glasses that help us see how societal norms, power structures, even the way we design water infrastructure, all of it can perpetuate these inequalities.
I was struck by the example of irrigation technologies. On the surface, they seem gender neutral, but
in reality, if a woman doesn't have secure land rights, having access to a new irrigation pump might not benefit her directly. The technology itself is neutral, but the playing field isn't.
it's like giving everyone a fancy new oven, but only half the people have kitchens. We need to look at the whole system.
Exactly. This framework forces us to acknowledge those hidden power dynamics, those pre-existing social structures. It pushes for solutions that aren't just about more water, but about fairer access and control over that water.
So understanding this framework is key to understanding the whole picture. But the report doesn't just leave us with a problem, right? There are solutions, and some of them are already making a real difference.
Absolutely. We're not just diagnosing the problem here. The report is packed with inspiring solutions already in action.
Okay, hit me with some good news. What are some standouts?
One that really resonated was a community-led water management project in the Philippines. They brought women to the decision-making table, and guess what?
I'm hoping it's not just that it was the right thing to do, though it is.
It's way more than that.
Yeah.
It led to more effective and sustainable solutions. Because who understands a community's water needs better than the women who use it every single day?
Right. It's like asking the head chef about the best knives, not the restaurant critic. They have that firsthand knowledge.
Exactly. And they're also bringing solutions that might not have even been considered otherwise. The report also delves into these incredible groups called Demetra Clubs in sub-Saharan Africa. They're informal, women-led groups that tackle everything from water issues to agriculture, health, even peace building.
Wow, Demetra Clubs. It sounds almost mythical. I need to know more. How did these groups even start?
It's fascinating, actually. They originated with a radio show in Niger back in 2001, aimed at sharing information with rural communities. But it quickly evolved into something much bigger. Women started forming these clubs based on the radio content, using it as a springboard for action.
So they went from listeners to leaders, creating real change on the ground. That's amazing.
And it highlights how interconnected these issues are. By empowering women in one area, you see ripple effects across their entire lives and communities. And speaking of ripple effects, the report cites a study in Ethiopia where a water project increased household incomes by, get this, 8.5 times.
8.5 times. That's not a ripple. That's a tidal wave. What was so special about this project?
They focused on empowering women in small-scale irrigation projects, providing training, forming action committees, the whole shebang. But here's where it gets really interesting. This project also led to men taking on more domestic chores. It challenged those deeply ingrained gender roles we talked about earlier.
So it's not just about women doing women's work, but shifting the whole dynamic towards equality. It's like this project unlocked a whole new level of equality, and the benefits just spilled over into other areas of life.
Exactly. And those ripples, they extend even further. The report connects this to improvements in health education, even climate resilience.
Okay, I can see the health connection. Less time fetching water means more time for self-care, family, all of that.
Plus, think about the impact of safe, private sanitation facilities, especially for women and girls. It's about dignity health and breaking down those taboos that prevent women from reaching their full potential.
It's amazing how something we often take for granted can be such a game changer. And what about the link to education?
It's simple. When girls aren't weighed down by hours of water collection, they have time to go to school and thrive. The report mentions a study in Nepal where a local water source led to a surge in girls' school attendance. It's about removing those barriers that keep girls from opportunities.
It's like this domino effect. You empower women with water security, and it sets off this chain reaction of positive change.
And it doesn't stop there. Let's talk about climate resilience. When women have a voice in water management, their knowledge and experiences are invaluable.
Right, they're often on the front lines of climate change, seeing the impacts firsthand.
Yeah, they might have traditional knowledge about water conservation passed down through generations, or they understand which water sources are most vulnerable to droughts or floods. Tapping into that wisdom is crucial.
So we're not just talking about gender equality, we're talking about smarter, more resilient communities overall.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that women aren't just beneficiaries of water security, they're essential partners in achieving it.
This report has been such an eye-opener, really driving home the fact that water security isn't just about pipes and pumps, it's about people.
It's about understanding the power dynamics, the social structures, and ensuring everyone has an equal say in how this precious resource is managed.
So for our listeners who are ready to dive deeper into this, what's one key takeaway you want them to remember?
Remember, this water is life, and access to water is deeply intertwined with gender equality. By empowering women, we don't just create a more just world, we create a more water-secure world for everyone.
That's such a powerful message, and I hope it inspires our listeners to think differently about these issues.
Me too. It's been a pleasure diving into this with you.
And a huge thank you to our listeners for joining us on this deep dive into gender and water security. We'll leave you with this question to ponder. If water is essential for life and access is shaped by gender, what does this mean for achieving true equality in other areas? Until next time, keep those brains engaged and keep exploring.